What's up, everybody? I'm DJ Sixsmith. Welcome to Sit Down. Gabriella Piazza is here with us. The Many Saints of Newark coming out October 1st, the prequel to The Sopranos. Gabriella, this is a huge one for you. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for Sopranos fans and those people who have never really watched The Sopranos to see it.
So this was an incredible experience for you. Why don't we first start with the audition? Because just being involved in this project is super cool. So what do you remember about it and how pumped were you when you got the role?
You know, it's so funny because I had just serendipitously started watching the Sopranos series because I was never allowed to watch it growing up. My father, he's an ex-FBI agent, so he was, you know, but I had just started it. And when I got the audition, they changed the names and everything on it. So you sort of have to do your own investigation. And I'm reading this and I'm like, this sounds like the Sopranos movie. But it was wild. So I actually called my mom and I was like, hey, Mom, do you mind reading these lines to me a little bit? Because I wanted to hear her Long Island accent. And I went in and I just felt kind of at home, you know, yelling about food at a dinner table, which was the audition. And so it went great. And here we are.
That's really awesome. So you play Joanne Moltisanti, who is Christopher Moltisanti's mother. The movie focuses on Dickie Moltisanti, his father. So what were some of the keys for you in playing Joanne and what did you want to get across here?
Yeah, so you don't really see, as you know, Joanne a lot in the series, other than when Christopher talks about her and the few times that she's in it. So I was really excited to sort of have this blank canvas in a sense, right? I could create sort of, this new character to the world. And I thought a lot about actually who would create Christopher, who would be, the mother of Christopher, in the series. And I wanted to bring, that matriarch, that true Italian wife in the 60s and 70s. And it was just a blessing to be able to play with, David Chase's writing and Lawrence Conner as well, who wrote it. It was just a blessing. It was awesome.
So I'm sure there's a lot of cool moments for you, but looking at your Instagram, you got a picture from the set and there's Ray Liotta sitting right next to you. So can we get some stories of hanging out with him? Listen, you may not have watched the gangster movies, but he was certainly a big name to be hanging out with on set. What was that like?
Absolutely. Ray is someone, and just say about the rest of the cast as well. You walk onto the set and it's just these heavy hitters who are incredibly talented, and Ray being one of those people. And I got to be in a scene with him in a few scenes, but he just is so focused, so hilarious, and his takes are it's just magic, right? And he, in between takes, he's freaking hilarious. You're just like, he makes you feel comfortable. He's really, really such an exceptional actor. And he just knew what he was doing, boy. And I feel like I was watching a masterclass working with him.
You mentioned how you had just started watching The Sopranos. So you're getting into the mix, right? You see Tony, you see James Gandolfini, and then you work with his son and Michael, who looks so much like him. And for him to be playing this role is really incredible. So what was it like for you to have that surreal experience and also to get to know Michael on set once you did start working with him?
Yeah. So, they say that Jim brought a sense of family and compassion and empathy to every episode and the entire set, right? He just made it a point to make everybody feel like family. And Michael filled those shoes so beautifully. The day of the table read, little old me, walking into this table read, Michael came right up to me and introduced himself and made me feel so comfortable to be there. And he just sort of like paved the way for us. And it was just such a beautiful experience watching him work. He brought it and he does so beautifully. And he made us all else want to bring it, right? And it was such an honor, and he's become such a dear friend of mine. And I'm so happy for him to have this experience, and he knocks it out of the park. So it was surreal and so beautiful to be part of.
As you know, the fan base for this show is super passionate. You are now a part of it with the prequel. Why do you think this resonates so much with folks, whether it's the prequel, the actual show, the allure around it? What do you think really stands out about it?
I love that question because I think Sopranos, the show specifically, just means something to everyone, right? David Chase masterfully figured out the anti-hero. From him, I feel like birthed was Walter White, right? We, you know, and it's sort of like, I said this to my brother actually yesterday. We were talking about this, and I was like, you know, everybody in the world on the exterior has a job title, right? And you're defined by this exterior, but you still have a whole other life that isn't necessarily what you're defined by, right? What people don't see behind closed doors. And that's exactly what the show shows you, right? You want to hate Tony Soprano, but then you also love him. And you're like, why do I like this guy? And I think that is the allure that this show brings you. You're like, there are people that like, I can't stand, but for some reason I love them, you know, and you just feel at home watching the show. And I think, you know, the beauty of what David Chase does here too, as well, is find in Dickie Moltisanti, this incredible character, he does it again. And Alessandra does such an awesome job to portray this tough guy that you've never seen, but you've heard about. And, you know, it's awesome.
There's so much to unpack with Dickie. There's so much to unpack about that time, and even just Newark and New Jersey at that time too. So what do you think are some of the things that may surprise some folks when they check out the movie?
I think there's a lot that you're going to be surprised about. I mean, the setting in Newark is in such a tumultuous time that actually went on during the Newark race riots. And I don't think people are ready for how accurately that's depicted and how important that part of the story is. And I'm so excited for people to watch that. I also think people are going to be really surprised by seeing a different type of Tony that you've never seen. You know, William Ludwig plays Tony Soprano in the 60s, and then Michael plays him in the 70s, right? And to see this side of actually how Dickie influenced and how everybody influenced, including the setting of Newark, how influenced the Tony Soprano that people know from the show, how to see that growth is going to be a big surprise. And I think people are going to be surprised by that.
Really looking forward to checking that out. I'm sure you're still processing and digesting the whole experience, but what's one big lesson that you learned that you'll take away from this that you'll keep to yourself, or, you know, apply to something else you do down the road?
Yeah, I think it's that's a great question. Thank you for asking. I think it's going to be, if I have to say, it's just to trust choices. You know, sometimes when you get on set, and, you know, for me, I'm a little bit new, as someone would say, right, to the scene. So having the ability to trust myself and the choices as an actor on set, because Joanne didn't have a lot of background or a lot of like tape to watch, let's say, to prep for her, just trusting what I'm doing is working. You know, a lot of times, sometimes actors were like, well, I don't know what the heck is going on. So just to trust myself, and hopefully it'll take me to the next gig.
Perfectly said. Plenty to talk about with this show, the Moltisanti family. We're looking forward to checking out October 1st. Gabriella, pleasure to meet you. Thank you for the time, and we'll chat again down the road, right?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much.